You guys are a crazy bunch of people.
We love it.
Oh my gosh, it's just so hilarious.
Welcome to the best part of the week with Hannah Ray.
You're full of it.
And Bob.
Yes, it's true.
Now, here's America's romantic piano sensation, Jim Brickman.
Now you know that I'm Latin now.
I know. When we're in concert and you play some of my favorite songs, you always say that it harkens back to your Latin roots growing up in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, so I love all kinds of music, but I am partial, which I didn't really realize, to bossa nova, which is Brazilian, actually.
Oh, okay.
I mean, is Latin Brazil too?
Yes, absolutely.
Latin America, I mean, that's South America. Isn't
Right,
Brazil in South
but
America?
isn't Latin America South America?
This is why talking
is
about
why-
this subject makes me nervous because none of us know what we're talking
No,
about.
Latin America is...
Yeah.
There is Google. I mean, we could look at Google
Yeah.
right
I mean,
now.
you have the computers,
All right,
Squire.
so I will. You talk. I'll research Latin
But the
America.
Latin is a different language. Spanish is the language of Latin America.
Right.
Yes.
'cause-
And Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yes.
Both derived from Latin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you know that for sure?
Yeah. Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and I think French all were Latin derived languages. That's why they call it Latin America.
I would have. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
So, yeah.
Did you take? Is that civics or geography? No, civics is government.
Oh, man.
What is that? Social studies? No.
Yeah, I
What
guess.
subject in school is that?
I don't know.
History?
Geography, cultural literacy. Like, I have no idea.
All right, here we go. According to theguardian.com, Latin is not the origin of most languages, very few. Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian, and possibly Walloon.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
How can we forget about Walloon?
So I wrote a song the other day with the wonderful Erica Ender. She wrote the song Despacito.
Okay.
She also, notice how I say it? She wrote the song Despacito, which I feel like I have to say
Yeah.
in like a dialect, even though I don't speak Spanish.
That brings up a terrific point, but continue.
So I wrote with her. She is like glorious is the first word that comes to mind. She's a very popular artist, singer, songwriter, all these Latin Grammys. And I've always wanted to write with her. Anyway, you know, Despacito is this massive song, obviously. Everybody knows it. So she guested in my show in New York. I played at City Winery the other day. And so I wrote with her. Her third language is English.
Wow.
And she's writing with me in English.
Yeah.
And I started thinking to myself, how unworldly am I? You know, like Americans are so unworldly or whatever the...
Yeah, that's the I guess that's the drawback to it's telling everybody they have to speak English. Why? Because we don't want to spend the time?
But it's just, it made me feel so like, not American, but so closed off.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you meet Europeans, you know, Latin Americans, they're so much more, I don't know, like worldly, open.
Yeah.
They know so much more about different cultures. They speak all these languages. It just feels so small here to me.
I think that could be geographical too, because Europe is pretty compressed. I mean, Europe is the size of what, about 8 United States? And all these countries speak different languages. So there's a lot of moving in between these different countries. So I imagine if you want to do business across borders, you need to know how to speak German and French and Danish. Is Danish a language, or is it just something I get for breakfast?
No.
Okay.
We're in America here, people.
I think, you know, we're arrogant. Like we grow up thinking that it's this standard of everything instead of being open-minded like that. I don't know. I just felt like I said to her, I can't even imagine speaking fluently Spanish or Portuguese, let alone writing a song with rhymes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I just can't imagine it. Did you take a foreign language?
Yeah, I took French. I was really bad at it. Really, really bad at it. And then I knew a decent amount of Russian, and I still know. But that is it's from my past life. But still.
Spasiba.
How do you know that?
Isn't that thank you or
something?
something?
That's thank you, but I forgot what you're welcome is. Oh. It's leaving me. But I know other things.
I'm much more desirous of Spanish or French.
Spanish is super useful. I feel like Americans should be learning Spanish.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Completely.
And I took Spanish 3 times. I think
really?
So I got pretty good at the alphabet and what all the letters sound like.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like certain countries too, when you visit them, are kinder and gentler to wanting to help you, or more interested in helping you with the language. But you have to show that you want to make an effort. And I find that in Spain, for example, or in South America, when you're around it, of course, you pick it up a little bit. Like your Spanish 1, you might pick it up.
I could say I want to take a walk to the library. I think it was something like dar un paseo en la biblioteca or something like that.
Darun?
I don't know.
What?
Dar un paseo. Paseo.
Okay. Anyway, it was in Paris once.
They do not have the time.
But if you try though, they're more like, at least you made an attempt. It's when it's when that entitled American thing happens. Like, why aren't you speaking English to me when you're in France? Or it's really bad. Like, I was in the hotel and there's this very famous restaurant in Paris called Le Soufflé.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what soufflé is.
I think I'm familiar with the soufflé. Yeah,
it's the pastry, right? Or it's a soufflé.
The soufflé.
Soufflé.
You've never made a soufflé?
It's a cakey thing.
Oh my God!
It's like a big puffy pastry thing.
Yeah, pastry.
Yeah. It's a big, you go in, you order soufflé first so that it's ready, at the end of the meal. Anyway, I was in the hotel and I hear this woman walking down the hall. And she comes up to one of the concierge people or whatever. And she, excuse me. And she comes up. Do y'all know how to get to La Soufflé?
Oh, man.
That's why I think they're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, but here's the point. I really want to learn. I really do. I'm going to try Babbel.
You should.
I really want to.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm going to be Latin and write songs, because I really am trying now that I'm
You're not going to be Latin. You're going to work with Latinx people.
Yes. Yeah. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to go to Miami more. I'm gonna start going to Luis Fonsi concerts.
I can totally picture Jim living it up at a Luis Fonsi concert.
Portuguese, because I love Brazilian music even more, really, and I do want to do this bossa nova album, and but Portuguese is harder. It's more like French/Spanish. I don't know how to say anything in Portuguese.
No, me either. I remember my grandparents going to Portugal and they brought back all kinds of stuff that was in Portuguese. And I still, you're right. Entitled American. I was so lazy. I never even thought to look at what it meant. But they went the Our Lady of Fatima or something like that. Do you remember that was in Portugal? There was some lady that saw Jesus somewhere at some point.
I do know that in Brazil, like Rio de Janeiro whatever, is very unsafe. I mean, you have to be very careful if you're going to Carnival or any of those, because it is, from what Erica told me, it was very, very scary.
And that's where they just had the Olympics. The last Olympics were in Rio. Is that right? Yeah. And they had all kinds of problems. Or wasn't there some kind of scandal where there was some swimmers and they faked getting attacked or something?
Oh, yeah.
What was that story?
It was something like these American Olympic swimmers, they were like these 20-something young guys. Like,
yeah.
I think they like broke the glass on a shopkeeper's door
Yes,
or
right,
something.
yes.
And then they blamed either like the people that lived there or the shopkeeper for like coming at them, but actually they were just drunk and being stupid. It was something along those lines. They damaged something and then lied about
and
it.
of course, it can't be their fault. There's no,
Oh, yeah.
we were wasted and broke glass.
Well, that's also like, you know, like when teenagers do dumb things because they just like don't want to get in trouble, so they just like will say whatever they think of first. I feel like that was what was happening with them,
right.
especially because they were guys, and you know.
Yeah.
We should play the there's a Spanish version of my song Beautiful.
I bet it sounds great.
We should play it.
We should. We can, right? Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have all the licenses.
Yeah.
It is pod safe.
Yep.
Where is it? Do you have it? We'll play it right now.
¿Dónde está la música de
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Bello.
Bella?
Bella. No, that's
Italian.
Italian, Spanish, or no, Spanish
Wait,
is.
wait.
Um,
Hang on, I'll find it.
no, I
No,
know
Jim's
what
gonna
it
get
is.
it. Jim's gonna get it.
It's
Come on, you've got this. I'm gonna
first letter, please.
H.
No, it isn't.
But that Google is right here telling me it's hermoso.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. So did I pronounce that right?
I love how you're looking at me.
Yeah.
It sounds right to me.
Yeah, because I feel like you're the.
Arbiter of language.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a college degree and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm the only one.
Well, that's right.
Thanks.
Jim has a college degree. I don't have the
No,
college.
No, he
don't.
doesn't.
No?
I don't.
Remember,
know.
he didn't graduate CIM.
Oh, that's right.
Whatever.
That's right. You left to go have your jingle career.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, why not?
Yes.
It hurt. It seemed to have hurt you quite. It impeded your
Right.
progress quite a bit not to finish college.
Uh-huh.
But the pronunciation is something I always really worked hard on, and that's what I'm saying. Like, is it wrong of me to really nail the pronunciations when I'm ordering food in a Mexican restaurant? Where everybody else is like, I'll have the pollo, dish, and it's quite obviously pollo,
Yeah.
which is chicken.
I think that if you're confident,
Camarones, it's
are
shrimp.
you ready?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I think if you're confident, go ahead. I try to think about it like, okay, like in some parallel universe where white people are the minority in America or anywhere, and
Right.
like someone comes into like an American restaurant and like doesn't speak English but like said hamburger perfectly, you wouldn't really think about it, right?
No, not
Like
at
you
all.
would just be like, oh, they know how to say hamburger, cool.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I wouldn't think about it. Obviously, that's like very much an opinion I just like made up because there's so much context that doesn't exist. But
Well, it's
whatever.
it's the pronouns that most languages.
Pronouns.
Yeah, it's the tenses and the he she and the I and it, and that's where, because
The conjugations.
because
Yeah.
English is the only language that doesn't have
Gendered nouns.
gendered nouns or possessive, whatever you call it, I, you.
Right, which the verbs change based on who's
Yes.
saying it, who's coming along.
Right, like hermosa.
Yeah. Well, that's different. That's like if music is feminine or masculine, you would say
La
hermosa
or L. La ahead of, or if it's the.
right.
Even
But
the
what I'm
is-
saying is it'd be like hermosa or hermoso, right?
Right, but if you say
This is embarrassing.
no, but if you
I
say
know.
if you say the word, like what you said about hamburger,
Yeah.
somebody walks in, they don't speak English to order, and they say hamburger.
Yeah.
That's like what we're doing. There's no may I have a or possessive or
It's just.
I mean, I feel like if you say it with a smile on your face and a look of apology, but you can still say it, then it's fine.
Here I am trying to get that face down. Nobody can see that.
frijoles,
Frijoles, right?
Okay.
I've a tamale.
la souffle.
But it is one of my. I've got real good at making it, like cooking the stuff.
Nice.
That's where I'm almost like you're almost Latin now with the music part. I'm almost Latin because I can.
I also think that if that's the only word in the sentence that has a dialect to it, that's what it really sounds stupid. Like, I'd like to order the El Pollo Loco. I mean, it's like the
I was looking at your menu here and it looks pretty good. I'd like to have the camarones.
It's just not. It's almost worse,
Right. And can you bring that to me on the corn tortillas? Yeah. All right. I see. I get your point.
Okay.
Oh, well. So
I love how you do. We both. It's Southern accent when we give an example.
And you know what? And I think Hannah was more concerned that we would make like the Latin folks mad. Like there's probably like a bunch of people, listening.
I mean, not that any. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm probably we're just making a lot of people mad now.
It's a little derogatory.
Sorry. We're sorry. It's part of it is just doing this for a living all the time and always having a character on.
Well, but it's we mean well. It's not. We're not casting aspersions. Is that the word?
What?
Casting aspersions.
Aspersions or dispersions?
I think
I've never heard any of these things.
The college graduates never heard
dispersion.
Casting dispersions.
Casting aspersions.
Aspersions.
What does that mean?
That is a noun. It is an attack on the reputation or integrity of someone or something.
Perfect.
We're not casting aspersions.
Yeah, no.
That is the perfect phrase for it.
Absolutely. I knew
really
what
what is happening is that it's everyone here trying to engage in a culture without sounding dumb but not knowing how to. That is what we're talking about.
Yes. And
that's what it is. And it comes from appreciating the things that this culture brings to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's out of a desire to want to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're making fun of ourselves, not the language.
Because honestly, I would, like you said, I would love to speak another language. Like I regret that I took Spanish 3 times because I just didn't care the first or second time.
Mm-hmm. That's what happened to me with French.
Or the third time.
In Thai, when, from a gender point of view, when you say thank you, for example, if you're a guy and you're talking to a guy, then, sorry. If you're a guy, you say to a woman in a different, what am I trying to say? If I say to a woman, thank you, I would say, or try to say, sawadee ka. If she says thank you to me, it's sawadee krap. So if she's talking to a guy, it's a different word than if a guy is talking to a girl.
But what if it's a guy talking to a guy?
I think it
would probably still be
guy.
Krupp, right?
Krupp, right?
Well, it's the same thing in French, like the formal you and the informal you. There's like vous and there's tu.
But that's not.
It's not
based
gendered,
on gender,
but it's like relationship.
But it could be, like we say like, hey girl, or hey man. You know what I mean? It's like, I wouldn't say hey man to a girl.
Oh, that's true. That's
maybe.
True.
What's up, man? Have I ever called you man?
I don't know.
But that's not the word.
But
maybe
can't,
called me dude before.
Maybe.
That's not the word. It would be like saying thank vous to a guy, or thank you if you were talking to a woman.
Oh, so it's not just like switching.
It's not slang.
Well, and I don't think
all right.
I've only called you girl once.
You called me girl more than once, I think.
Oh no, it was.
I'll go. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Well, and not to take this a step further,
Oh.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, come with us a step further.
But I think we've talked about this before, but it's worth revisiting.
Oh my God.
So, and this is a big Hannah topic.
I know where we're going.
No, you don't. Do you?
I mean, if it has to do with man.
I never know where we're going.
Okay.
Where we're going is, I know we've talked about this before, but not on the podcast. So, the sexism, the line,
Okay.
what's appropriate, in a Me Too type of way.
Okay.
So, and it's the airplane example.
Okay.
If you I'm just going to disclaimer.
Just say it.
Okay, but I'm just going to say this is not meant to be sexist, racist, regionalist, whatever that is.
No aspersions being
Oh, I know what this is. I remember what this is. This is so annoying, but okay.
It's the truth.
Go ahead, Jen.
So, if a woman, let's say a flight attendant, almost said stewardess just to annoy you.
I don't care about stewardess.
What?
I never cared about stewardess.
I don't understand. The word, the millennials say flight attendant. Anyway,
They do, but like I don't get angry if someone says
see,
stewardess.
I would never guess that if I were with you and
Why would that be bad?
Hannah, could you get the stewardess? I think I would have thought you would flip out. Stewardess?
Why do you think I'm like so aggressive?
Because where is I don't know where the
but what
girl woman? That's not the same thing.
Oh my God, no, it's not the same thing.
Yes, it is.
That's where we get hung up is because sometimes
stewardess is just an older term, right?
we get confused. Yeah, but there are stewards and stewardess. There was a gender.
Oh, just because it's like gendered.
Yeah. So
It's like
whatever.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, man. Now it's folks.
Really?
was it once the helpful hardware, man?
Oh yeah,
That's
forever.
so funny. I like that.
Wow, it's been Mandela'd from me. I don't remember it ever
This is
being
the
that way.
place with the helpful hardware, man.
Huh.
Why would it be a man? Anyway,
Yeah.
so what if a flight attendant of a certain age with a southern dialect, I get on the plane. How you doing, sugar? How you doing, sweetheart? Do you want another cup of coffee, sweetheart? Darling?
I like being called.
I do too.
And darling. It's great.
So, but Hannah,
I wish you guys could see me.
but if I dared,
should I take a picture and
If you
post
want to video this segment, you can.
but and I think I remember what Hannah said about this. That,
Oh my God. Okay.
but if I did that, oh my gosh,
Why do you care?
it's just an example of our culture. It's example of the double standard. It's
Okay,
like
what do you-
adorable and hot.
No, it's not. How is that like adorable?
Because
Tim, you do this all the time. Like you pick these topics and then you just like die on the hill for no reason, and then you leave me here with nothing to say.
go ahead.
But it's not. There's
But
no point though.
give me a reason. But tell me why one is okay and one isn't
Okay.
from your point of view.
Okay. Like, and
I understand the girl, lady, woman.
the girl, lady. That's okay. Well, that's just different. That's not
Woman.
even what we're talking. That's what he's saying. That's also not the point. That's not the point.
Right.
Like, oh.
I really.
Oh,
wanna-
I have so many
really-
things.
No.
Okay. So many things just came into my head. Okay, so the girl woman thing, something happened recently that was really
Wait.
infuriating
We're
about
back
that,
on
but whatever.
stewardess and stay with this.
No, that doesn't. Like acknowledging that someone is presenting as a specific gender by being like stewardess, like that doesn't bother me personally. Like if you that I don't care about personally. This is just my opinion.
But what about the honey sweetie? That's the topic.
Like women, like whether or not we want to like acknowledge this, like culturally women aren't viewed as threatening in the way that men are. So if there's like an older woman who whose entire job is to make people feel comfortable on a plane, and she calls you sugar, A, you know that culturally that's more normal with people from the South, and B, you're not made uncomfortable by that, because what is she gonna do? She's not gonna do anything. Whereas if it's like a random man who comes up and says it, like, you would feel uncomfortable if a man said that to you, right?
Sugar?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you can't even imagine it. But second of all, it wouldn't make you feel uncomfortable. It's kind of like in the same way where in movies, like if there's like an older female boss character, if she's like sleeping with a younger guy, it's like a punchline. Whereas if like an older male character is doing that with like a younger female person, it's like, oh, he's powerful.
Okay, but what about generational? In other words, let's say it's an older man who grew up in this, honey, could I have another cup of coffee? Yeah. Is there a line crossed at an age because it's of his generation to have just be part of the culture to say honey to somebody? Honey, can I get another cup of coffee?
I mean, it depends on every person's perception, I guess.
But it's not, he's not purposely after something from her just because he's saying that.
Right. But I don't know. I feel like if you're alive, you have a responsibility to be self-aware. If you're 80 and you grew up. Jim, first of all, like, why? Like, I don't know why you do this.
Because I'm trying to figure out where the line is.
I see.
Personally, if that happened to me, if like if I was selling merch or something and someone called me like darling.
Which happened?
But that's not all that happened.
Right.
First of all,
that's not all that happened. That was a major.
That was a whole different thing. But that wouldn't be something I would like be mad about.
Right.
Like if someone touches me, that is a problem. But if I don't know. You pick your battles.
If I said to you right now, honey, while you're next door, could you grab me a cup of water or a glass of water?
You would never say that, though.
Yeah, and that's
and you didn't even finish your sentence.
Oh, in other words, where is the line? So, how is that different than sugar? You want another cup of coffee?
I think the reason why this makes me mad is because you are coming from a position where you can just play devil's advocate for fun because none of this affects you. Yes, is what it seems like. It's what it's making it seem like, and that's why it's annoying. You know what I'm saying?
It's actually happened to me.
I know it has. So that's why I get frustrated.
No, I mean, said something in a fit of, being upset, or I don't remember what I said. Mm-hmm. And it was to a flight attendant, a woman. Mm-hmm. And it was not honey, but like, not doll, something. I don't even remember what it was. And she said, I'm not your honey, or something like very
line drawing.
Okay, but here's my point, and then we can move on.
Okay.
It's all the intention.
That's exactly what I was going to say. One thing, it's the intent, not the event.
It's not the intent.
No, but no, what he said, what his intent was if he's frustrated and calls somebody doll or honey or sweetheart when he's frustrated at someone, then that's demeaning. And so the intent was to be demeaning
and angry.
So in that case,
not sexual.
Yeah,
right. But that doesn't matter because it's still wrong. Because she's a woman that you're able to say that and make an impact.
Why is it different than listen, buddy? Because
it's not like a threat.
Neither is honey.
Yeah, it is, Jim.
Not if I don't mean it in a way like, I'm into you or I'm.
But Jim, it doesn't matter.
It was the way it comes off there when you're angry or upset is demeaning to that person that you're talking to because you're trying to establish a power role over that person by using that kind of language. So there the intent I think is wrong. That's crossing the line.
And the real truth is at this point, it's like not even about intent and let me just like get it out. Like it's not about your intent. Unfortunately, it's about the perception.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even if you feel like you're not in the wrong, like it's like saying like, I'm sorry you felt that way because of something I said. And that's like not a genuine way to treat people.
No, because you can't be responsible for how somebody else feels.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't be responsible, but like if you did something to directly cause that feeling, whether or not you feel like it's justified, like.
Yeah, I feel like if you are aware enough with yourself and how the world works, more so than other people, then it's your responsibility to operate within those parameters. Meaning, like, because I know, even though I might not feel like it's wrong to call you honey or sweetheart in just a normal thing, just because if I understand how the world works, it's not, even though I know what my intent is, I can't be 100% certain that you're going to take that the way I mean it.
Right.
So then I'm going to censor myself. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. That's just what it is. You just have to be okay with it.
And that's the way the world is. And I'm okay.
If I was British, it would be so much better. Love. If I was British, love. Do you watch any of those British dramas? Love is every other word.
Yeah,
love.
but that's I don't think it's the same.
Accepted. No, it isn't. That's my point.
Yeah.
But the Me Too thing. Remember we were talking about in the fan club line, and my tour manager, Daniel, went out and said, ladies, please don't kiss him, don't touch him, whatever. It's Me Too or whatever.
Right.
And now people sometimes will come up to me, even not squeeze or kiss, just even touch at all, like put their arm like you're taking a picture and say, is that okay? Without the disclaimer.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just a little far. It's like gotten, I appreciate it.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think that's
just safe.
Yeah. And I think that's somebody being aware, like, you know what? I don't know this person. That, like, I wouldn't put my arm around somebody that I don't know. And so for somebody that, even though they may have a relationship with you based on they love your music, that they're aware enough that when they're next to you, they're like, okay, I don't know this person. I want to check in and make sure it's okay that while we're taking a picture that we're not just shoulder to shoulder with our hands in front. If it's okay if I put my arm around.
I would say that, though, it's very different now than it used to be.
Yeah.
With regard to that. I don't know if that's a positive thing.
I think it's a good thing.
I think so.
I mean, Jim, you're directly benefiting from it.
Oh, no, I
like,
agree.
You're being respected so much more. I think that's also why I get confused when you take these stances, because it's like you can relate to like the experience of so many women that have had their boundaries crossed that I am always like, why?
You wonder why I'm bringing it up at all.
Like, you should be happy.
It's more of an observation of culture than it is like my personal thing, with the exception in the fan line of I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
So because you're a hugger,
right.
I have to hug you.
Right. Right.
I'm selfish and my needs are going to be met right now.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm a hugger. Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, God. There's so...
Yeah,
this topic is exhausting me.
I know, but it's
good for me to have to articulate this.
Well, and I think it's good for. I just think it's something that needs to be talked about more.
Yeah,
and just because there are a lot of people that wonder, like, all right, what is the line now? This used to be okay, and now it's not. And even though their intention may never have been to make a woman feel uncomfortable or a man feel uncomfortable, hey. Like, we've evolved now. We've grown a little bit and realized that is potentially disrespectful behavior. And if it's potentially disrespectful, then you have to rein it in.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
And I think that's it, is that, you know, we tend to make things all about us. We tend to make things like it's a very selfish move. I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel that way. Well, if you are become aware that somebody might be affected by your behavior in a negative way, then you just change it. It's easy enough. Like, what are you really losing? What really hurts? Nothing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about waitress, waiter? I'm curious.
Okay, well, that's also
server. Have you seen our waitress? Like, my father, it wouldn't even occur to him to say anything but waitress.
Right. But it was really accepted back then. And I think
that was my point. So was honey. Get me a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but now you're talking about a term of endearment or a familiar term to something that was actually the name of their occupation at the time, and now they're servers.
What do you think, Hannah?
Okay, I feel like I would say server by default, but not because of any particular reason.
Because you grew up in it, or
I guess, but I think also, I mean, this is a topic we've never even talked about at all on the show, which I have actually been really curious about with you guys, but like there's a really big push to take away like gendered terms in general, like especially with like super progressive people, like if you know someone who is like probably somewhere along like the gendered identity spectrum, but you don't know, like just you like calling them they instead of he or she is a really big thing. That, I mean, I went to NYU, which is like a really, really progressive school. And like, it even took me some time to be able to like implement that into just like my standard of operation. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to like waiter and waitress, like if you have a server who like by all, I mean, you can't really tell unless you ask them. But if this person seems like your standard, like straight girl, straight woman, you could probably, and it's, I mean, you can, whatever.
Well, what would you in a gender neutral?
You'd be like,
have you seen them?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could be like, have you seen our server? But then you're like, oh yeah, and then you'd be like, I think I saw them over by the thing, like by the.
Yeah, that's
whatever.
hard, especially when, it's so ingrained into your language where it's second nature. It doesn't even like run through a processor in your brain.
Right.
And but then is not an individual.
It is actually.
Really?
Yeah, because when you think of it, you think it's plural, but actually like if you're talking about like the winner of a contest, and you don't know who the winner is going to be, you'll be like, yeah, they'll go to the casino and then go to a concert. Mm-hmm, that means one person. So it's just a matter of, again, it's what Bob said. It's like altering your behavior just as like a way of respecting people.
I do that on stage all the time. I'm expert at this subject.
Well, there you go.
Because I want everybody to feel comfortable.
Included.
Boyfriend, girlfriend. Why would somebody assume that I'm talking about a girlfriend, a boyfriend, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you say partner most of the time.
Partner or
spouse.
Yeah.
And even
significant other.
And it's something that we go through because when we get the Valentine things, it's not specific.
Right, it's not clear a lot of the time.
It's not clear. It's not specific that this name is a him name, her name. Is it a
we're talking about if I make a dedication to someone, and let's say it's to Bob from Pookie.
Right.
Or, I don't know if Pookie is a girl or a guy.
We used to just like, I remember we used to just like kind of roll the dice and be like, I hope this is right.
And
then Chris. Pat.
With a K.
So, we would just, at that point we did what you did just now, which is we just switched to the proper names.
Yes.
Gary wants you to know Carrie, that blah, 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 just in case, that you don't, just in case. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, it's really cool though. Like in the past few years, or I guess really within the past year, like I've filled out a lot of forms at like the doctor or like at like a audition for something, and they've had preferred pronouns on there as like a thing that you fill in.
Yeah.
And it just like, not only is that just a good thing in general, but it takes so much of like the awkward guesswork out for people.
Well,
like
what is the alternative?
I mean, normally it's like he, she, they. Like you can pick one of those three. Or if you, I mean, some people
on an application, it wouldn't, what would it say? What are the preferred pronouns?
So your preferred pronouns are like, okay, let's say we were doing an icebreaker right now. Like I could say like, hi, I'm Hannah. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. My preferred pronouns are she, her, like she, her. So you would know.
But if you're filling something out,
there's literally a line that's like, preferred pronouns, with a line.
So when the doctor's office are communicating to you or around you, and they're using the proper pronoun to make you feel more comfortable.
And I mean, granted, most of the places that are instituting that are left-leaning or like artistically focused. But that's just because, culture is moving as fast as it can.
And it does. And it's hard. it's hard for people to like. I think it's really difficult for some people to, and we see it where it's difficult for them to move forward because they're so comfortable, and they have this fear that that something is, if they admit that they have to change, that something was wrong with them to begin with, and that's what people don't want to feel, like something's wrong with them. So that's why you see you see this real big behavior on the other side of these things, because like, there's nothing wrong with me. This is the way it always was. So you know,
what about bathrooms? I'm not big on that. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
The gender neutral bathroom. It's the restroom, and like anybody, you know.
Well, okay. Woman. I feel like it's a really layered issue, because like the reason why there's a call for gender neutral bathrooms is because there is a fear on both sides. Like if you're a trans person,
I see.
You don't want to get assaulted by someone in the bathroom, but at the same time, people that don't actually know a trans person in real life just think they're like these made up like demons that are like insidious when they're just people. So it's like the middle ground, like the compromise is actually the gender neutral bathrooms, in my opinion. But you know.
Yeah, and most places now have a family bathroom.
Yeah.
And I've even ducked in there every once in a while.
Yeah.
Usually it's cleaner.
Yeah.
And it's a good place to repack your suitcase too.
Yeah. Got that changing table.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes,
of course, the changing table is not probably the best place.
I mean, it's something though.
No, but
also, wait, I feel the need to amend one thing I said. It is a compromise, but it's also like if you're someone who doesn't identify as male or female, then it just makes your life easier if you don't have to like have an internal decision every time you go into a bathroom.
Yeah, or you know whatever your outward appearance is, you can.
Yeah.
That way people aren't asking. You know, if you don't want to like be all that forward and have people ask you, have to answer a bunch of questions. You just want to go to the bathroom and get back to your table.
For sure. I mean, it's also like how many people actually have the nerve to be like, excuse me, are you a biological woman? Like no one, like there's not that many people that will do that, but because it's been blown up on TV so much,
it's a made up problem.
Exactly.
In my estimation, it's a made up problem. I don't know that. I don't know how many crimes I've heard of from trans people in the wrong bathroom.
There's like no, exactly. I mean, there's been hate crimes of like cisgender people attacking trans people in the bathroom. Yeah. It just happened in a school recently. Like a principal went in.
Yeah, but that's mixed up in other things. Meaning school.
Well, I mean, it's mixed up in other things, but it's still
young. You know, you're already in an environment where there's, where kids,
right. But it was a kid that went into the bathroom and an adult followed the kid in, policing the kid.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that is not cool.
No, that is not cool.
Yeah. Also, this is like a roundabout thing. If you want to impress your new Spanish-speaking friends, so people say Latino a lot as like the blanket term. Like Latinx is the non-gendered version, and it's like a real thing people say. It's not just like an Urban Dictionary thing. Like my dad says it. Like lots of people.
Oh, are they Latinx?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. I thought maybe that'd be like a Spanish nose blowing.
I mean, it does. Like when I first learned about it, my friend.
I got the sniffles. Yeah. Could somebody give me a Latinx? Sorry.
I mean, it's also funny if you pronounce it Latinx. Like that is funny. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you want to impress people,
I'm gonna try.
You've got it.
I'm glad I got that whole Kleenex joke out now, so I never have to be faced with doing that. In front of actual Latinx.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry. It's just how my brain works, folks. It's
okay.
I think a little levity was appropriate.
Yeah.
This one got pretty deep.
I'm a little thirsty, honey. Could you get me a refill on my soda?
I bet all the women are laughing.
Well, that's why we have these broads on the show.
There's one broad on the show.
Oh, really?
What?
Broad is okay?
I mean, I think it's funny. I know it's not nice, but
No.
I don't care.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Jim, go cry me a river. I'm over it.
Pick a word that.
Oh my God.
Out of these 5
All right,
words,
thank
which
you.
one?
The credits are rolling. We're moving forward with our day. We're done with this.